Hello, thank you for joining me at Life Cannot Wait, that's spelled W-E-I-G-H-T. And I am your host, Angela Johnson Ayers, and I'm so glad to be with you. Thank you all for all reaching out to me and saying, Angela, we want to see more videos. Where are you? What's going on? Well, actually, I took a few months off just to contemplate. The holidays came, and then also just to think and to contemplate some stuff. But let me share with you something. Let me ask you a question. Do you have something called fat wounds? Fat wounds. You might be saying, Angela, what is that? I call fat wounds, those things that happened to us when we were obese and overweight. For those of you who have either lost weight, or you're in the process of losing weight, or you're getting ready to start the process of getting on a weight loss program, this, you know just what I'm talking about. The fat wounds are the things that people have said over and over about you. You're fat, you need to lose weight. The rejection you've gotten from the opposite sex, if you just lost weight, you have a pretty face, but I don't want to date with you, and all those things impact you. And so for many of us out here, particularly in the weight loss surgery community, when you lose weight, particularly if you lose it at a pretty rapid rate, you may be losing the physical weight quicker than you're losing the emotional weight from your past when people were meaner to you. Now, not all of us may have that same story. I have heard many people who say, look, when I was overweight and obese, I didn't get that type of negative conversations from people. But my story is a little different. But what made me think about fat wounds is because something had happened about a month and a half ago, that someone had done something that really hurt me, really hurt my heart. And usually a lot of things don't really pierce my heart, but this particular thing did. And it made me think about just hurts in general, and how it is very important, you all, that regardless of what people may have said or done to you in the past, you have to let that stuff go, because if you don't, it will sabotage you. It will sabotage you in every area of your life. You may not believe it, but subconsciously, it will cause you to self-sabotage. Before I had weight loss surgery back in 2006, May 30th, 2006, that was the day I had weight loss surgery. But before then, at the time I was at 318 pounds at my heaviest weight. And even though I considered I had a great life and a blessed life, and I did have relationships with men and stuff, and some men were very good and some were not. However, the quality of my life, I know, would have been different had I not had all that extra excess weight on me. And so a lot that came with that extra weight was the extra negativity from people. And you may be going through your daily life and you think, oh, it's not impacting me because I'm a strong woman, or I'm a boss dude. That stuff doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt me at all. But 9.9% of the time, it does impact you. It really does. And for me, I would feel a spirit of rejection. I felt as if my weight, I'm not good enough because of my weight. Now, that was not a true statement. Me being a worthy person or a good person has nothing to do with my weight. However, it did bring on those comments from outsiders. And because of those comments, it made me little by little piled up anger and resentment at people. But for me, it was more so turned on myself. I heard someone say that, and this person said it, and when they first said it, I got offended, but then I thought about it, and I think it was a little truth to it. Let me share with you what the statement was. The person said, the most angriest and nastiest attitude type of people I've met are fat people. And I thought, wait a minute, what do you mean? Fat people are happy and jolly. And then she said, no, let me explain. Because I was, ready to give her a royal beatdown. She said, I think, and it was her opinion, but she said she thinks it's because of all the rejection and self-hate inflicted until many fat people, are angry, so they'll lash out at others. And so I thought about that. And I said that could very well be true. Not just with people who are overweight, but anyone who may have had a hard life, or you may have been abused sexually or physically over your life or verbally many times. You either going to take it out on yourself or take it out on others. And for me, because of the rejection and the fat wounds, the hurts, the wounds I was getting from other people because I was fat, I internalized them, and therefore I call myself punishing me. And the way I would punish myself would be by overeating even more. So let's say, I'll never forget that incident, and I've shared it with so many of you all, but long story short, I was younger, too much younger. It was like 20 years ago. And I had a little job, and I was working, feeling good about myself, and I was getting my lunch, and this dude came behind me, you know, standing there, minding his own business. Then his other homeboy must have walked up. He said to his friend, "Yo, is that your woman in front of you?" And he was like, "Nah, man, I like my women smaller than that." Now, that was over 20 years ago. I still remember that rejection moment. That put a major fat wound in my heart. You understand? Now, I had two choices that day. Three, actually. I could have allowed it to make me even angrier at people, or I could have internalized it and punished myself the way I, like I said, would punish myself would be through overeating, and negative self-talk. Overeating and negative self-talk were my two ways I punished myself. Or three, I could have chucked it off and said, you know what, he's just ignorant. He don't know me. He may want his women smaller than me, but he's not going to find a woman who would treat him as good as me. You understand? And so because I did not know how to process those fat wounds, it heaped on top of me. So that day when I was at a Taco Bell, I was getting my lunch, and instead of me getting just 2 tacos, I think I doubled my order because, again, I internalized. So let me ask you, if you've already, like me, I've lost 150 pounds. If you have lost your weight, the weight you wanted to lose, or you're in the process of losing, are you still holding on to hurt and anger? Think about it for a second. You might think you haven't, but you need to evaluate that. Because if you have not, and maybe you're not a self-sabotager, but maybe you've become arrogant. Maybe you've become angry. You're like, hey, now that I've lost this weight and nobody can talk about me, I'm going to use men. I'm going to be a nasty attitude type of chick. You know, or maybe you might be the other. You might just have become a royal people pleaser, doing what everybody wants you to do, being a royal doormat. Or for some of you gentlemen, because you may not have always gotten the chicks, and now that you know your body's right and you know everything, and you might be able to make it rain a little bit of money, you know, now you're just going through women like water. Or you're just letting women walk all over you. You got to check yourself and see, wait a minute, are there any fat wounds? And so for me, because of what happened a few months ago, that someone had done something to me and it hurt me so bad, it shook my very core, I'm telling you. And so it was with the words and their actions that really hurt my heart. Not so their words, their actions, you understand? Because many times people will speak words just out of anger or frustration, but actions, for me, when you act that certain way, that tells me, you know, really where your heart lies towards me. And so I had to say, wait a minute, that's them. That's their issue. Angela, that's not you. First, I had to take a righteous judgment and look at myself and say, wait a minute, Angela, did you say or do anything out of line that would cause this person? And when I did, and be honest and take a righteous judgment. And for in our cases, so you being overweight and people just walking up to you saying things or saying moo, and treating you like you're nothing because of your weight, that's not your fault. Even though, yes, our being overweight is your fault as far as most of us, you know, is eating too much and moving too less. However, that does not give anybody carte blanche, free will to treat you like a dog. So you have to first examine, okay, if what this person has said is because of their own ignorance, I have to brush that off. And many of you, even today, even though you have lost the weight, or some of you all are in the process of losing the weight, take this time to examine yourself too, because if you don't, let's say you may not be able to overindulge in food, you may turn now to drinking, or you may turn to promiscuous sexual activities, or you may just turn to whatever to feed and to silence those thoughts and pains of your fat wounds. And for me, even though 20 plus years later, you know, that from what that guy said to me in that Taco Bell, I can still remember how I felt, but I have the choice not to sit in that. Because see, his words, he didn't know. It did hurt me, but now when I think about that, it motivates me. When I'm at the gym and I'm on that arc trainer and I got that resistance level high, and I've already done 40 minutes, and I'm like, Angela, just push and do 5 more minutes. I think about those words. And instead of letting those fat wounds control me, I let it motivate me. Thank you all so much for joining, and I look forward to talking to you all again. Be blessed. Have a good day.